Welcome back, Smutterflies.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Halloween, I feel like we can say at this point. It's the
Oh,
29th of October, so
happy spooky season.
I hope everybody's been watching Hocus Pocus 1 and 2.
Yeah, 100%. Also, not to be self-centered, but when you're listening to this, my book comes out in 2 days.
2 days! And it's my birthday
Two
in three
days.
days.
And there we are. Cause to celebrate in 2 days.
Daughter of Stone comes out on Friday, and then it's my birthday on Saturday. Saturday birthday, what a
Woo!
treat.
Oh, that is a treat, isn't it? Are we doing
Can't
anything?
wait. Don't think so.
No. You
Um,
don't want to go out and have, you don't want to go out and have celebratory birthday and book drinks with me, do you?
Well, I did ask you if I could do something and
Yeah,
if
and I
Corey
said
was
yeah.
doing something, and you were a bit like,
Oh, I
Yeah, you must have been in a poo-poo mood about life because you were like,
not true. I didn't say that. You gaslight me.
um,
2 minutes
Patreon,
in already
Discord,
arguing.
yeah, Patreon, Discord, Throne, Instagram, TikTok lives. I did a little impromptu live last night.
I was sat on my sofa and I'd been reading for like 20 minutes and then I picked up my phone and it was like a Podesmith and Wingspan's live. And for a second I thought, oh my God, is she fucking bum dialed going live or something?
It's me in the
And I,
shower.
that's what I thought. And I thought, fucking hell, here we go. Clicked on it and you were like, yeah, 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 yeah. And I was like, messaging, I was like, did I miss something? I was like, I wasn't invited to this.
No, but do you know what it was? Steve goes out every Wednesday, as you know, and I was just on
Wanking,
my own.
wanking Wednesday.
That's my day. Um, but like I put my throw down on the sofa and I put my book out and my cup of tea, no, to read. And I was like, oh, maybe somebody would want to do sprints. And I know Luce, one of our listeners, loves doing
Yeah.
sprints. And then I was like, "Oh, I've got be doing shit every night this week. Like she's probably sitting with her husband.
Literally, Corey said to me, like, not 40 minutes prior, what are you doing this evening? Like, what have you got on? And I was like, I'm working I'm working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not Sunday, but Monday. I was like, I've been writing, like it's been really busy. I was like, I'm really busy the next. I'm going out after we record Friday night. I was like, I'm
Oh
busy.
wow.
So I was like, tonight, I was like, I'm not doing anything. We're gonna spend time together. You play games, I'll read, and we'll spend the night on the sofa. So yeah, I wouldn't have gone live with you
Yeah.
anyway, but you know.
No, I knew that. Then when you joined and you were like, did I miss something? I was like, oh, she's mad at me now, but I didn't ask her because I knew that she would have said no. Ugh. But yeah, I just did a little hour. And we had loads of little gifts come
Oh,
through,
I
you
didn't
know.
say I signed off,
Yeah,
sorry.
no, I know you weren't there, but we
I
had
was
loads of
like,
little
bye.
you were like, no, thank you. Don't want to listen to you. Bye.
I was knee
We had
deep in
loads of gifts come
Zool.
through. Oh, the Ascended. Um, if you're not on our Patreon, like this is a shameless plug, but I don't care. We recently recorded a Patreon for September, which we called Book Banging in Real Life.
We did,
And
yes.
we basically talked about like things that happen sexually in books that we'd be game for trying in real
Yeah,
life or, getting
yeah.
involved in. And it is hands down one of the funniest episodes we have ever put out into the world.
Do you know what it is, right? We said the exact same about the Wed Bed We Had episode, where like we almost feel like bad because they take like the least amount of prep, they take like no thought, and then we show up and they another thing we have a laugh, like we laugh
Yeah,
regardless, but
yeah.
like they always end up being really funny and like unhinged because we just overshare, 100% overshare. And then everyone's always like, guys, I love this episode. And we're like, so we uploaded it. And we literally said to each other, oh my God, people are going to unsubscribe from Patreon this episode because we forgot it was so last minute. We were like, shit. So it was almost like a baptism of fire where we were like, look, let's just go out there. Let's overshare about, to be honest, Sam says her body count probably at one point. So we were like, let's just overshare. And at least we tried. And then everyone was like, guys, we love this episode. We're like,
And it's unhinged. Like I was laughing so hard. I thought I was going to be sick on camera. Like my chest was hurting. I was wheezing. It's the funniest thing we've ever put out into the world. So if you were on the fence about joining our Patreon, like I feel like that alone.
It's only
should
if you
tell
want, if you
you.
just want those episodes, if you just want the bonus episode every month, it's only £3 a month. It's the second to lowest tier. The lowest tier is Mo Money, which is literally just a tip jar, so you don't get anything. But the £3 a month Wingspan aficionado tier, you'll get that. And like honestly, I feel like for £3 a month, you're literally getting us talking about us wanting to be porn stars. So,
Funniest thing we've ever put out in the world.
well, it makes me think now, like, am I rethinking doing Beast of the Briar? Because I'm like, but then apparently it's really unhinged.
Yeah,
So
I have heard. We can always make a decision that we can always only do book one and then
we
decide
could,
to
and then
do
do
other
something
stuff.
else. Yeah,
Yeah.
we could. Yeah.
What are you currently reading?
I am still audiobooking Blood of Hercules, but I'm like really cooking with it now. Like I'm really in it. Like it's so dark. It's so questionable. Um, yeah, it's wild. It's a why choose, and I thought I knew who the why chooses are gonna be, but now I'm thinking there's more people. This could be a harem at this point.
Oh,
It's so interesting. I'm loving it. And I'm 60 something the way through the Ascended. And I'm loving it. And I'm gonna try and finish that tonight then so I can smash out my author spotlight over the weekend and we can do that on Sunday. But I need, and you're like, I think the thing with it's not that I wasn't loving the Ascended because I knew I would love it. But I was like picking it, I was dipping in and out so much that I wasn't like
yeah.
getting in, and now I've spent like all weekend last weekend reading loads of it, and I read loads of it last night and this before we started recording. I'm like, I need to finish it now. I need to get it done because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's cooking, and I'm, oof, so good.
Yay.
Totally on a tangent. Have you seen they've released a merch range today, Greenwich and Lennox, with the Ascended jumpers? I was like, there goes my paycheck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stunning.
What are you reading?
I have nearly finished The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig.
So good. I've not read her writing, but I know I'm gonna love it.
I'm like this, going
Yeah.
straight into my reads of the year. So fuck knows how long this list is going to be because everything I'm reading at the moment, I'm like, read of the year, read of the
Read
year.
of the year. I
Like,
know.
I forgot that Goldfinch was only this year.
I know. That's the thing. I just think immediate, and then when I go back through and bearing in mind when we
Memory
recorded
Puller
last
was this
year,
year. Memory Puller was this year.
and when we recorded last year, it was like the beginning of December, and we said we would allow what was came after. So you're gonna have to go back to December as well.
That's when I did all the Broken Kingdoms by L.J. Andrews. Help.
I know.
Yeah, so I honestly, I think last year, like we did our top seven and we like talked about the seven and then we did honorable mentions. My honorable mentions is just going to be all of my Goodreads for the year because
Everything's been stunning.
I haven't DNF'd a book this year. I haven't given, I don't think I've given lower than a 4 star this year. So how do you choose then, isn't it? Like how,
I know.
who get, ah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll fucking see. But anyway,
What are you
enough
reading?
about
Night
all
in the
that.
Moth.
Yeah, nearly finished
Oh,
though.
okay.
So
And
on
then
to
you
the
get that
next
Beast of the
one.
Briar.
I bought the Gingerbread Bakery. But I'll read that in a day. Like it's just
Mm.
one that I know I can smash out. So I'm gonna read it just because, continue the series.
Bit of fun.
Yes, and then yes, Bonded by Thorns will be next for me.
Stunning. Why are we here?
Because we just interviewed Raven Kennedy.
So we're talking as if it hasn't happened, but it has really happened. And to say like, right, we get nervous when I think back to the day, the first ever time we interviewed Pen Cole, and how
Oh
it
my
took us a
God.
solid hour and a half to 2 hours of disassociating to
I
even
burst
like,
out crying.
yeah, I know it was wild.
We
And
finished recording. I just burst into tears and got up off the sofa, and B was like, "Ha ha ha ha!" Like it
Steve
was.
walked in and was like, we've been sat in silence for like an hour, and he was like, "Did it not go well?" And we were like, "No, it went really well." And he was like, "So why are you both lying
Why
on the
is
sofa
why
crying?"
is Sam crying? Why is B white as a ghost?
More than usual. Um, So we get nervous for every single interview that we do. Like we are starstruck 24/7. The fact that we have interviewed some of the like, when we finished season one, I honestly didn't think it could get better. And it's not that it wasn't that I prioritized anyway, but it was like I didn't think that we could stay on the trajectory. I was like, it was a fluke. We just got really lucky. And the fact that we are interviewing some of these authors this season is insane. And Raven Kennedy, I think, is like not more special, but like it was our first ever signing. We'd never done anything like this. We were still so new to this world, and we just booked a Raven Kennedy signing. We're such big fans. And the fact that she's on the podcast, like, oh,
And I
had
hope
we?
she
Oh, we
enjoyed.
had.
She enjoyed. She said she enjoyed, but like hopefully she did. And
Yeah. And
like not that it matters to anybody else, but today is the 2nd of October, 2025. We met Raven on the 4th of October 2024. So it's like nearly a year to the day, like come full circle that she's come on the podcast.
I
And the day we
know.
met her, we were like fucking Fruit Loop. She was trying to talk to us and we were just silent.
Well, we had to say we'll probably cut it out of the author interview because it's just us yapping at the beginning. But like we told her this, we were like, when you met us like a year ago, and you probably don't remember, but we were so nervous. We had to have a drink before we went. Do you remember we went for food and we were like, we're gonna have to have a drink? I was like, I'm gonna have to have a
I'm
pint.
sure I had a pint and a cocktail. I'm sure I had 2 drinks. Yeah.
I had 2 or 3 pints at least, and I was still nervous. So we were so nervous to interview Raven Kennedy tonight, but she was a dream, a
A
delight.
dream. Yeah.
It's just
Um,
10/10.
so yeah, get ready, buckle up to dive back into the world of Plated Prisoner and enjoy us yapping with Raven.
We're speechless because I'm speechless that we just did that. Enjoy.
Hope it goes well.
Oh, and full spoilers for all of Plated Prisoner. You know us, we're full
Yes.
spoilers. I know we've not done individual episodes on them, but this is full Plated Prisoner spoilers.
Hi, I'm Raven Kennedy, author of the Plated Prisoner series, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys today.
We are so excited. We've talked about your book series so many times on this podcast, like in various formats, like on Patreon. We've done it on like our like God tier series. So we are like so excited to have you.
I've seen snippets like when you guys tag me and stuff, but I'm always writing or like on a deadline. And so when you guys tagged me recently, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually am gonna have like a 2-week break where I can do stuff. So I'm excited to actually finally talk to you.
Yay. And we
Yeah.
actually we met in real life like nearly a year
Yeah.
ago. So we came to your signing in Birmingham. So yeah, when we like that was our first ever author signing. We'd never attended one of those before. So it
Oh,
was
fun.
yeah, and when we saw you were signing in Birmingham, like it's not that close, but it's like closer than we get anything over here. So we were like, you're worth the 3 hour one way, just 6 hour car journey. We did it,
Oh
and it
no.
was the best.
I hate car rides, so that is like I take that very seriously. If someone's willing to travel in a car.
And we were like really like we're like awestruck and like you tried talking to us and we were both just like no words, just not speaking. You were probably
Literally.
like, they're weird.
No, I am so awkward like in real life because I'm actually very shy, but when I that was my first book tour, so it was tough, but everybody was so nice, so like it wasn't as terrifying as I thought it was gonna be.
hmm
So
Yeah, it
anytime
was.
someone else is shy, I'm like, aw, me too.
The thing is, like, we're not shy people at all generally. We're both very loud, but like we just never met like an author before. We were such big fans, and we were just like we just don't know, you just don't know what to say. We were like, hi, okay.
No,
Like,
I get it. I get it. I'm always like awkward. I feel like.
So our first question is, what drew you to the story of King Midas for a retelling?
Yeah, so actually King Midas was always my favorite myth that, like I read out of all the other ones, just because I think I'm a really visual reader and writer, and the gold aspect, I mean, it's like its own character, and it's so aesthetic, and it's so, I don't know, there's just something about that instantly pulled me in because it like makes the setting all on its own. Like just having a completely gold environment, I think does something to the fantasy setting. And then I actually think he's fascinating, King Midas himself. There's I think everybody to some extent, especially if we've known struggle, to have that oh my gosh, what if I really could turn everything that I touch to gold? And so there's that very flashy kind of temptation to it, um, with, kind of balancing the aspects of greed that we all inherently, as like a protective endeavor, trying to like gain wealth so we can protect ourselves and provide for ourselves. So I just think that, yeah, I always loved that, and thinking about the greed aspect and just this glittery kind of utopia, but it's really anything but that. It has a very underlying dark like consequences and all of those things. So I've always loved it. And I found a poem that I had written, which, I tweaked a little bit and put it in the back of Guild, that I had kind of written based on some of those like themes of gold. And so yeah, I just always loved it. And I knew I wanted to do a story about it, especially because I hadn't seen anybody in the fantasy space do it. And I'm very hesitant to do any story or retelling where a bunch of people have already done it. So I don't touch those stories. Like I would never do like a Beauty and the Beast or anything like that. So yeah, I just felt it, and I just really, really wanted to do that one.
And I think
Yeah.
like it leaves such an interesting contrast, doesn't it, for like we'll get into it in a second, but like Slade, because of like his darkness versus Midas's gold, and then actually who ends up being what's considered the like MMC is such an interesting like contrast between the two as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I knew with the gold power and how that manifests very physically and very visually. For Slade, his power also needed to be very visual and very physical. And like this complete opposite kind of, so I could play with this light and darkness and the balance of both of them. And yeah, um I love their powers apart, but I really love their powers like showing side by side too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you say about the gold being a character on its own, because I think that scene in the ballroom where she calls all the gold back and like the walls are running and the gold's coming back to her, like it felt like another character on the page then. Like it
Yeah.
gave like a new level of depth to Oran and her power.
Yeah, I mean I loved that scene. Like I just gives me goosebumps because it seeing her do all that gold not by her own choice, but then she finally like realizes it's hers and kind of takes charge and takes control over that. And then yeah, it just manifests in a very similar way actually that her ribbons manifest. They're a part of her, but they're also like their own character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we love the ribbons.
we do.
Um,
There's so many people who are like, when they first start the book, they're like, what are these things?
one of my friends doesn't read fantasy at all, but she was like, "Oh, I want to try and read one of the books you're reading." So I gave her all of my Plated Prisoners, and she was like, "Okay, you need to send me some fan art because what do these ribbons look like?"
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're like I wanted. Obviously, she's gold, so she already looks different. But I yeah, I just saw her. I was like, what are those things? And I just saw her in that cage with those things trailing down, and like she could move them and stuff, and I just rolled with it, and it was just yeah. I think it was just part of the epiphany I had of coming up with Arin, and just seeing her fully manifested like that. I just yeah, I love them, and they're a perfect representation of her own growth. Um, they're just like a metaphor and a yeah, just her own journey is actually mirrored in the ribbons and how they, in book one, she hides them and she wraps them around them and she doesn't use them and she like just kind of turns away from that part of herself, just like she's turned away and hidden herself in every other aspect. And so showing that progression of accepting herself through the ribbons was one of my favorite parts of her character.
Yeah, I think they like become such a literally their own like sentient being, right? Like you
Yeah.
literally root for the ribbons as much as you root for her. And then like
Yeah.
we're all spoilers here, so like we can talk about, all spoilers, but when she loses them, oh my gosh, like that is, but then to have that like she needs that personal growth. She needs to trust herself. She needs to get stronger. And then to have that like ending with them was just like, oh, like the perfect. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, exactly. Like she needed that. She needed um to have that final one piece also be taken from her for her to, I mean, that was brutal. That was the final nail in the coffin, so to speak, for her to completely burn down into ash, and then she had to be the one to lift herself back up, and the ribbons, come back to her when she's ready to do that. So yeah, they were so integral to her character to show what was happening inside of her, but in a physical manifestation.
Yeah, absolutely. Very strong storytelling through the ribbons.
Thanks. Thanks.
So similarly, what drew you to the story of the Pied Piper for a retelling, which is obviously your new series coming out?
Yeah, so I mean pretty similar. Like I said, I don't like to touch retellings that a lot of people have already put their stamp on. And when I was, kind of just like letting my mind separate from the many years of writing the 6 books and Played a Prisoner, and just kind of letting myself get in that creative lull and things come to me. And yeah, that was one of the things I was researching. And as soon as I don't know, as soon as I just heard it and remembered it from, like growing up, and there's like popular sayings that we still say. I was like, that's the one. That's it right there. So similar feeling to the King Midas. And again, I hadn't seen Pied Piper in the fantasy romance space at the time when I think it was over like, I don't know, a year and a half now that I've been writing it. So yeah, and the thing with Midas and Pied Piper, I can take this really cool lore or myth and completely spin it on its head, and while still getting into those really darker aspects that I like to touch on, and like the grittiness of a world, rather than it all be like sparkly pretty. There's always like the raw, gritty ugliness underneath. And
Mhm.
so yeah, I feel like it was just perfect for me to transition into. And I think everybody who really likes Played a Prisoner will really like this one as well.
As soon as you announced it on Instagram and said like because I think you hinted that you were going to do a retelling first and then announced like it was going to be Pied Piper, I literally texted Sam straight away and I was like, if there's anybody that is going to make me eat this up, it's you. I was like, I can tell you now, I am going to be so obsessed with this. I'm literally like, Sam and I talk about it all the time. We'll just be in silence sometimes and be like, oh, I can't wait to find out what the Pied Piper retelling is going to be like from Raven, because I just know that like what our perception of that tale is, the way that you
Mhm.
take things is like so crazy that I'm like, I just can't wait. I'm so excited for it.
Luckily, I mean, I did have to like, convince publishers like to just trust me because, I took something like rot and somehow made that sexy. And now I'm like, I got it, rats. Like it's just, I got this. Rotten rat. And they were like, okay, yep, you got it. It's totally, we're here for you. So luckily they're along for the ride, and I think they're very pleased. I just turned in my second draft, so very excited. It's shaping up, and yeah, I can't wait.
Oh, well, neither can we. We are so excited for it.
Hmm. So can you give us any insight into what your Pied Piper retelling will look like?
um, yeah, like I said, I think if you like Played a Prisoner, you'll be into this vibe. I mean, it's very me. It's very um visual and visceral, and that's just how I like to build a fantasy, is to make sure like when you're in it with the character, you can hear, see, feel, touch, smell everything around her in that world. Again, like something pretty gritty and raw underneath some of the glamour. And um I mean, there's not much I can say. I can't even say like the title yet, but yeah, I think people will be happy with going from Played a Prisoner to this.
Oh, so exciting.
So excited. I mean, you've told us nothing, but like so much at the same time. I'm like, yes. So going back to The Plated Prisoner, the series started with a bang, quite
Yeah.
literally. What made you go with that for your opening scene?
It's funny. When I knew what I was gonna write, and it wasn't just about getting into this myth and like a retelling, and it certainly wasn't. I wasn't doing it just for the visual aspect, but to use the visual aspect to prop up what I was actually saying and the story I was trying to actually tell, which was about Aaron. I mean, like, yeah, it's a romance, but it's also just like like a self-love and like a love letter to women who have been in position that like she has. And I knew when I had come up with her whole character and her backstory and everything, to bring a reader into her mindset at that point in her life is incredibly hard because anybody can look at her and just like want to shake her and be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like you allowed yourself to be caged. Are you crazy? So that kind of thing. Um, and so I didn't put her into that opening scene just for shock factor. I did it very deliberately because in order to go along on this ride of getting into her shoes and being able to see the world the way she is seeing it, I knew I had to drop everybody right into this very um, confusing, shocking, red flag kind of situation. And so you could look through these bars with her and hopefully by the end of Guild, like really get a grasp of how manipulated she's been, how abused she's been, and why she thinks the way she does, and why those situations were something that she accepted. So there wasn't any way that I could see to do that except dropping you right into it and immediately showing you like, okay, this is messed up, something is very wrong here, why is she accepting this, and then slowly unfurling why she's in this situation and why she did accept that. And I actually didn't think it was like that shocking because I think uh coming off of writing like Why Choose books and steamy scenes, and I had a I had a group of readers, they were just along for the ride and they trusted me. And so then when Guild got a wider readership and they were like utterly shocked at like this opening scene, I was I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay. Because I didn't really expect that level of readership and people outside who already knew me from previous books to be also reading this. Um, and for people to come in and like not trust me because they don't know me as a writer yet. So it was very interesting, but I still stand by the way that I started that book. I think it's integral to instantly understanding, okay, this is a messed up situation. What are we doing here?
100%. We talk about it all the time. I think was it when we spoke to Pencall, Sam, when and she was talking about like I can't remember exactly what she was talking about when we interviewed her, but she was saying about like it being your book and if it feels right, that's right for you. And she was like, Raven opens on an orgy, and we're like, yeah. And I was like, we love it.
I mean, yeah, like there was just no, and I don't really like to, for her especially because I knew her story was going to be slower because I couldn't just, I couldn't just make her like a badass and be wielding a sword. That wouldn't make sense. So I needed to not have this slow buildup in chapter one of like, oh, she's eating, and then she like, no, like just drop her into this really horrible circumstance of her life, and then you see where she goes from there and why that's happening. So I just, yeah, it didn't make sense for me to start off slow at all.
No, I think it's really poignant that she's like so far removed from everything. She's in this cage watching from above. I think like you get
Yeah,
that sense then like literally from page one. And like you said, it's not like you see her just going about her day and you think she's having a lovely life and then you realize she's in
right,
a cage. Like, she's in a
right.
cage from like day dot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So how did you balance showing Aren's vulnerable side with showing how she grows through the series?
Um, yeah, I kind of just took my cues from her. I didn't like outline any emotional growth. That was not anything that I did because I feel like that would have been forced then. So, um, the main points I knew that I was going to hit throughout the series, I just got her there. And then I let her tell me where she was at emotionally, mentally, physically. Because a lot of the times I think with true healing from anything even remotely close to what she went through, there's always a two-step forward, three-step back kind of thing. And so I wanted to show that honestly. And the beautiful thing about Arin, though, is that she does look on the bright side, even despite how much darkness she's been thrust into. And she still believes in like goodness, and she is a very emotional character. So she's very layered, she's complex, and for some readers, I think that they can like really, I don't know, be along for the ride on that and be proud of her for every step she is able to take, and showing her, like compassion and when she does stumble, and it is hard to heal from that level of abuse that she's been through. So I tried to be as sensitive and honest as I could every step of the way, and I just took her pulse every scene. Like, okay, how would she feel at this point, and how would she react? And yeah, so hopefully it feels very natural because I tried to write it like just with her taking the reins and telling me where she was at.
Yeah, because I think, she has every right to be a bitch if she wanted to be,
Hmm.
from what she's been through. But I think, even in real life, people who have been dealt a really rough hand, but they're gracious with it anyway. And I think
Right,
that's what you were able to show with Oren. She wasn't bitter. She wasn't
right,
like, all this stuff has happened to me, like, woe is me. Like, she is,
right.
like you said, she's so compassionate. And I just think that was it was just so well written. Like, she felt real, as
And that's
real
why
as a gold person with ribbons can feel.
with ribbons at her back. I mean, I think that's why I really loved writing Melina, because in so many ways they were both caged by the same man, and they were both, I mean, they had this beautiful comparison and contrast to how they then dealt with that abuse and manipulation. And so I loved writing Melina as well, because she did become that. She did become bitter, and she lost that compassionate heart. And, there's an argument there that she had to in order for her to survive. I mean, everybody deals with abuse differently, and everybody heals differently too. So I really loved to be able to show, the warm heart that Arin had, and then this rather cold heart that Melina had, but that they were both in their own ways justified for how they reacted.
Yeah, 100%. I think
Absolutely.
it's like I love it because it's like the beauty of like complex female characters that like no one individual reacts the same way to kind of having a similar experience. And it doesn't necessarily mean that like Melina is wrong or bad for the way that, like you said, she took it. It's just a contrast to RN, and obviously RN being the FMC for the majority, you do take this perception of Melina. I remember reading Goldfinch and saying to Sam, like, are we really 180 in? Which is our next question. But I was like, are we really 180 in on Melina? I was like, I think it's coming. And Sam was like, I don't know. And yeah, and then as soon as you get that like insight, you get her chapters, you get her POV, it's not just from like RN or anyone else's perspective. You start to see that inner thinking. And like you said, she had to be like that for like self-preservation.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that's just her personality, and that's how she deals with things. Everybody is different, so everybody's going to take those situations and be molded to however they need to survive it. And she just, that's how she is. But even though she was antagonistic towards Aaron, and Aaron was antagonistic towards her, they were each other's kind of villains in a way. um they were incredibly similar, and I think that's also why I loved showing their story side by side, even though a lot of people really hated Melina. But I loved that. I loved to be able to show you Melina through Arin's eyes first, and you just, making up your mind that you just hate her, and then you see her through her eyes, and you're like, oh, okay, wait a minute, maybe I don't hate her as much as I thought I did. I mean, I love seeing all the comments of people like, I cannot believe you made me root for her and love her and then break my heart over her, and it's just like the best compliment that I could get.
Yeah, and I think that's like the perfect like tandem into our next question. So you had us 100% 180 on a lot of characters, Queen Melina and also Rissa, to name a few. Did you know that characters would get redemption arcs from the beginning, or did they surprise you when you were writing the series?
So, okay, I thought that I was just gonna do strictly RN POV and probably end it by like book 3. But like when I started, like Guild. But when I got in there and like I really fell in love with Melina's character right from the start, and then people were reading it. And so I was like, okay, I can actually dig my fingers into this and really do what I wanted to do. And I was still indie too, so I had all the power to make it whatever I wanted. And so yeah, by Glint, I was like, I really want to write her. I mean, because I absolutely could have. I could have stopped at Gleam and, killed the schmuck and given her like a happy after, but that it wouldn't have it wouldn't have been what I really wanted it to be, and it wouldn't have give Arn the space that she like really needed to end up where she, like what I saw in my head is like her epic conclusion. So I'm so lucky that people liked the series, so that I was really able to show my whole grand plan instead of ending at book 3 and not being able to do anybody else's POV.
I was just going to say, well, we're both very glad you didn't stop at book 3. That's for sure.
Me too. I'm so glad that I was able to do what I wanted to do,
Mhm.
because when I start a book, I have a general like plan and outline, but then I kind of just like I did with Arin's character, I just kind of get there and then see where where else I can go and how far out I can push things and show other perspectives. So I just loved being able to have the freedom to do that, and then not only show this world but the other world as well.
Yeah, I think that 100% we are glad that you decided to go with more, because when we saw Goldfinch and we got it on the day of the signing, and it's like it's the biggest, right? I'm guessing of all of them in terms of page count, Goldfinch is the biggest, like page wise.
I think Glow is the longest.
Is it? Oh, that's so interesting.
Now look at the
I
sizes
think
on
it.
them.
I think Glow and Goldfinch are the longest, I believe.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Glow is
Oh yeah.
big.
Glow's
Doesn't
big.
feel like it when you're reading it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure like the word count. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's Glow, Goldfinch, and Gold.
Because if I'm right in saying that Goldfinch, like the plan was to end on 5, and then you felt like, no, I needed like the extra one to like really do that story justice. And
Yeah,
like,
I wanted to finish with Gold,
mhm.
but when when I finished Glow, my indie editor, she was like, "There's no way you're gonna fit this all in next book," and I was like, "Yes, I can, yes," because I was also pregnant. I was like,
Mhm.
"Yes, I need to finish this in one book," and then I was like deep into postpartum, really bad place, writing Gold very late on my deadline. I mean, like working like 14 hours a day, working in the night, like just brutal. Um, and my lovely Penguin, Michael Joseph Penguin editor, her name's Rebecca. She was like, I think you have to split this. And I like was so upset because I didn't want, I see the comments with other authors and stuff about like being accused of doing a money grab or just prolonging the series for no reason. And I didn't want to be accused of any of that. But I just couldn't fit it all. I mean, I could have really sped everything up and cut a lot of stuff in order to fit it. And Rebecca was like, you don't need to do that. Don't cut anything. Like, let's give her the finale that she deserves. And so I was like, okay, yes. And again, I wasn't in a very good state of mind either because postpartum. So I was really doubting myself and doubting, what I should do. But I'm so glad that I had such good advice and like faith in myself to do this. But it was really hard to write those 2 books with a baby. It's so
I
hard.
bet.
Yeah.
Yes, I bet. I think we said that as well, like when we were reading, when we finished the end of Gold and then we're waiting for Goldfinch, like we said the same. We were like, almost like how would you have wrapped it up just in gold,
Mhm.
right? And then like the actual, like we were talking about Malene, like the progression you get, the development you get, the endings that you get, like you feel like everyone has done the justice that like you wanted them, because you get the time, and that's the thing, isn't it? Like
Right.
you don't want it to feel like, oh, I've got to like cram it all in and wrap it
Right.
up, when you've spent like so many years writing these characters. Sorry, they're so near and dear to you and to the readers. So we were so glad that Goldfinch was like a big chunky book in its own right,
Yeah.
because yeah, it was the ending that they all like 100% deserved.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I hadn't even gotten like halfway through Gold, and I needed to turn it in like in a few weeks, and she's like, "Babe, just let's end it, and then you can keep going, and you can have as long as you want." And I was like, "Okay." So I'm so glad because it would have sucked if I had to rush it and cut things, and I really didn't want to do that. So I was so afraid of like the backlash, which is not it's not like me because I've learned after um like Guild Glint Gleam time to really turn that background noise off and just trust myself and just write it the way I want to write it and not be so concerned. But again, I think I was really vulnerable in that time. I was so worried about people being mad at me and just hating me or whatever. So yeah, I'm so glad that I didn't rush myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it definitely paid off because Goldfinch is chef's
I
kiss.
love Goldfinch. I know some people like, you see the critiques, and I know some people still feel like it was rushed at the end. But I just the pacing for me felt exactly the way it needed to be. And I mean, I had to be realistic too. So some things that people really wish were tied in a neat little bow, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right for Aurea to do that when, you know, humanity is the way that it is and people are the way that they are. Um, and so, I made deliberate choices for Goldfinch too. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's how I felt that it should end.
I think it's safe to say, because we read it, like I think I was slightly ahead of you, right, Sam, by like
Hmm.
was it like a week or so, like a few
Yeah.
days. And I don't know why, like I don't know when we read it. It was raining here, storming really bad. So I don't know
With
what time of.
such bad weather.
And I remember being sat at this exact desk on a lunch break, reading particularly the Judd scene, and
Mhm.
literally my paperback that you've oh so kindly signed is literally creased
Tear.
from tears. It was like raining outside, and I was just sat here like crying into my book,
I
and Sam was
know.
like, "I'm scared," and I was like, "You should be." I was like, "You should be scared."
I know. I feel terrible. I mean, when these characters die, I mean, I'm getting choked up like right now just thinking of them because I love them. I mean, I have been with them for years. And so it was so sad. But again, it goes back to that realistic part of it. I when I read, I want to know that like there's actual stakes. I want to know that people can actually die and not
Hmm.
just come magically back to life. Like I want to know that they're real, that these stakes are real, and that there really are these consequences that are life or death. So I felt like it would have cheapened the story if I hadn't had those deaths and I also think when it comes to characters that you really love, when when they do pass, they almost even become even more special because they didn't make it, and so your time with them is really special, and then they give up their life for whatever cause or circumstance. I mean, I still mourn Sale because he was like her first friend and um this really beautiful golden retriever kind of soul, and someone that she really needed at that time. And then, he died, and then we have Judd, and these deaths are important for not just them, but for the characters around them too, and to for the whole story, so that that okay, this was real, and had real stakes.
Yeah, I remember reading Queen Melina's sacrifice, and I was like, oh, well, she'll have fallen into another place, and there'll be another world, and it'll be fine. Everything will be fine. And then I was like, everything's not
No.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, her death was planned, like, as soon as I started writing her POVs, I knew that's where she was going to end up, because she was the one to put the bridge back together, and she had to be the one to, like, get rid of it once and for
Mhm.
all. That was her arc. I mean, that was her, and I knew, um, in order to make people care, like, I had to show you who she was through her own POV, and how important she was. And I mean, she like breaks my heart, because I do love her. And showing this character who was very antagonistic and not likable from the very beginning, and showing where she ends up, and she does have that growth and that arc, and you can be so proud of her, just like you're proud of Aaron, and just like a different way. Um, I don't think any other way would have done her as a person, her character, justice. That was like her ultimate growth, is dying for her people. So I love her.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, it when these characters like Judd and like Melina, like when you're writing, and I've never gotten to that point yet where I've written a death, but like you do feel like when you know these characters so well, you get to the point where you're like, I know that this is what they would do, and they would sacrifice themselves. Like Judd would do that, like Melina would do that. And that's, like you said, the suitable, fitting, right ending for that character. But in terms of the reader, ultimately, it means you are like killing off a favorite character. But
Mhm.
it's safe to say that when we, like, don't get me wrong, we both cried our eyes out at these deaths, but we both love that we say like realistic sacrifice. Like it is a really fantastical but gritty world with a lot of like dark topics that are really important to talk about. So I felt like it was fitting to have, like you said, these consequences that do come.
Right. I mean, Melina, that, like I said, that was her ultimate growth. For her to finally get to that state of mind and that heart of be willing to put a blade in her own heart to save everybody. I mean, that's huge for her. She was not there in Guild. But so to see her in Goldfinch ready to take that on was beautiful. And Judd, I mean, he would have gladly died for his friends. I mean, it was just, that's the kind of guy he was. So I think I don't want to I don't want to do deaths just for shock factor. Like, I think they have to be important, and they have to make sense. Of course, there's, like, needless death in real life, but for those characters, it had to be it had to be realistic, and fit with the entire story and all the characters around them, and it had to have the right effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so sad.
I know. I know, I'm sad to see about it.
Okay, we went way off on a tangent then. We asked like
Sorry.
5 questions in one, sorry. So talking about our MMC Slade, how did you balance writing Slade as both brutal on the battlefield but very tender and loving when he was with Oren?
I love him. I just
So
love him.
much, so much.
Um, yeah, so okay. I think it was really important to have him hiding behind this persona, because Aaron was too. So I feel like him doing that kind of met her on an even footing, so that they could I mean, they too had stuff in common, even though at first it didn't seem like it. So, um, him showing up as Rip, and then you learn that he's Slade, I think I think was actually very important for her to, even though she felt betrayed at being like, deceived as to who he was, it did let her get close to him and to see him beneath the crown kind of thing. And then as far as him being emotional and then, on a level with her where he could like help her peel back those layers, and then be very brutal in, on other parts. He reacted in whatever way Aaron needed him to react in that moment. So if that was tender, then he was that. If that was him coming in and like saving her or helping her, then he did that. If that was him taking a step back and just letting her take care of business, he did that. And then obviously like he's very much wrought the whole world for her kind of character. So he'll do that. I mean, I did warn people that he's not necessarily a good guy. Like he's good to her. And that's the difference. And so I had to also be honest with that. And if I'm gonna say in book 3 that like I know I am the villain, but I'll be the villain for you, then I better show it, and he better live up to what he said. So even though I had people like, I don't know, that's pretty gruesome. Are you sure you want him to do that? And I'm like, yes, because that's honest. Like he is gonna go out and rot torture people who hurt her. I mean, he does, and in that book too, they're like separated, so he's helpless and he feels horrible. So yeah, he is going to take it out on all these people who tortured her, and he would be completely unapologetic. There's other heroes, and that's not him. He is willing to be the villain if he needs to for her. So, yeah, I just again kind of along the lines of letting Aaron just tell me where she was emotionally. I just let him um, pick up on what she needed in every scene, and then that's how I wrote him.
Yeah, and that quote is just just he's just
So
everything.
amazing. Yeah, we love him so much.
So you left some character stories open. Will you write in this world again?
Oh my gosh, listen, I get so much heat for this all the time. I'm like I released Goldfinch a year ago, like
Hmm.
over. I still to this day get daily DMs and comments about people mad that a certain brother did not have a neat, tidy bow, and neither did Oria. But again, this is, of course, I pulled in Riot's POV in Goldfinch because I really needed to, because the world is so big at that point, and I had these massive wars happening. Um, and I really loved getting into his head and showing, like, everything I needed to show from his perspective. But at the end of the day, this is Arin's series. This is her story. So that was what I was concerned about. I wasn't going to just do a bow up for him just because it was the final book for her story. That wasn't authentic to me. That wasn't honest. Um, and and I purposely did it anyway so that I could write his story. But I will tell you, I have gotten some major hate messages for this. But no, it's my plan to write his story because I really love him. And but Goldfinch, that was for Aaron, that was, and Melina, that was their like end arcs. And yeah, I couldn't just tie him up in a bow and like send him on his merry way. That it wouldn't have felt right. It just really wouldn't have. So yeah, I'm gonna write him, and I just don't have like a timeline because he's pretty broody. He's so opposite and Slade in a lot of ways because he's not the I'll burn the world for you kind of guy. He's actually like he's more of the hero. He's very much he'll take a blade to save people, and he wants to save the world. Um, so yeah, the way he ended up with being stuck in the Fey realm, obviously intentional, and I'm gonna because I selfishly too, like I didn't want to leave that world. Like I want to be able to still pop in and see Arn and Slade, see how they're doing, because I miss them. And yeah, I feel like Riot earned his own storyline from Goldfinch. Like, I was very proud of him in Goldfinch. So yeah, I would love to give him his own happy ending.
And I think as well, like you said exactly, like they find themselves ultimately locked in this other world. And although it's somewhere where like Aaron comes from and so does Slade and Riot to an extent, like that isn't what he planned. That isn't the future that he saw. So, like you said, how are you gonna make him just like happy ending
Mhm.
with being in a situation that he never planned to be in? Like it was never expected. And
Right.
you're not gonna be able to literally in like a couple of chapters be like, and Riot was super happy. Like
Right.
he's not. You're
And
not
I
gonna be
mean,
happy about that.
like I could have left him in Oria just to appease people, but again, like I try really hard not to just be appeasing. Like I want to write this story for these characters in a way that I feel is more realistic and honest. So yeah, that's just I still stand by that. I know people wanted him to be like
Absolutely.
happily ever after in Oria, but it's just I don't agree. I don't think that that's how he would have ended up. And who's to say he would be happy in Oria anyway? Split up from his mom and his brother and all the wrath. And I just yeah, and so I took the opportunity to be like, yeah, I would really love to tell his story, and so I'm just gonna let myself. And so yeah, and I was surprised that people didn't pick up on that more, like that oh, she's leaving breadcrumbs because she's gonna do this. So I think now that I've like announced it a couple times that I'm gonna do right in the future, I have less angry messages, but I do still get them.
Right, because when I finished it, that's the first thing we both said to each other was like, I love that I think it's not done. Like there's this little, at the time, like you
Yeah,
hadn't said anything, but there was like this little breadcrumb of hope, like there's a
yeah.
possibility that we're gonna have more, and like any excuse to have more, right? Like I'll take a whole 10-book series about Riot, like we'll take it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you don't have to read it too if you want to be like done and you're like happy with Arn and Slade. You totally don't have to read it. But if you want to see how he ends up, you totally can. And yeah, again, it's just like my own selfish way to visit them because I miss them and I want to see how they're doing.
We do too,
Yeah,
Dory. It's not
right.
selfish, like we want it.
I'm so happy with that answer. I'm like, yes. Um, okay. Who is your favorite side character to write and why?
Okay. Oh, so like, okay, like a background character or like an actual like POV character? Like you got a
Somebody
POV
who
from them?
somebody who doesn't get a POV.
No POV. Okay, interesting. Probably. I mean, I really love Lou. I I do love her. I love and I love Jed too. I mean, that's hard. Probably Lou, if I had to pick. Like, but
She was so much
that's hard.
fun.
Like I love Digby too. Like there's so many. I love Slate's mom. I
Yeah.
love. I love all of them. That's hard.
So, talk kind of on the same topic. So, did you know Rissa and Osric would end up together, or were they a couple that surprised you as you were going?
No, I wasn't even gonna write in their POV at all. I just in Glow, I needed to do just an Osric, like a couple Osric POVs because again, the world is big and they're split up, so I need to show like what's happening with other people. And I started writing him and I like instantly loved him. Like writing his POV, it was so refreshing because Arn, again, very layered, very emotionally complicated, a lot of baggage. Osric is so blunt and so to the point, and that you like what you see is what you get with him. And it was such a nice mental shift from doing these really heavy characters. And then they just happened, like, because she was with them traveling, back to Fourth Kingdom to get away from Fifth Kingdom, and they were just like so perfect, and they happened. Yeah, I didn't plan them at all, and I'm so happy that that kind of unfolded in a really organic way because I they ended up being some of my favorite people to write.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his possessiveness of her, like, oh, I just loved it. I ate it up. It was so amazing.
Yeah. I loved it. I mean, I think it brought out more of who he was too. I mean, you had seen him in the past two books, but then once you're in Glow and seeing him react to Rissa and seeing them just banter off each other was just so much fun.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved it. I think we can skip the next one because we've
We-
sort of
We
covered
it was the
it.
judge. We talked a lot
Yeah.
about Judd. That was the Judd
Oh.
question. What we talked.
What do you think Oren and Slade are doing now?
Oh my gosh, here's the thing about Slade, right? He didn't like being king. He hated it. He wasn't even good at it because realistically, he just needed to do it for survival for him and his family. So I love that. I love that he's like so imperfect in that way, that he's not just like this impeccable ruler and king who's just so good at everything. And I think giving up his crown and being an Anwin and just same thing with Arryn, like not being royalty, not having any responsibilities except for just like for once in their life, just being happy and living for themselves. Neither of them ever got to do that. I mean, Slade was always being practically tortured under his father and being made to fit into this mold. And then when they got trapped in the other side in Oria, then he was, I mean, he had to protect his whole family and he was very young, just like a teenager, and had to figure it out, and never got to live for himself, and then took over the crown. And so, he's all these responsibilities. So when now they're in the Fey realm and they just get to like be themselves, be happy, and just do like normal day-to-day stuff, like take a walk if you want to take a walk. There's nobody like needs you. And yeah, it wouldn't have been right if they had ended up as like king and queen of the Fey realm, because that's not what they want, and definitely not Orange. She didn't want anything to do with that, even though it was like, her background and bloodline and legacy. That's just not what she would have chosen. So yeah, I think they're just in Anwin, just having some tea and going out, finding hobbies and just being happy with each other and their friends and family. And yeah, and I think they deserve that. They've been through so much.
Absolutely, I love that for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next question, you've also just answered that. So I'm going to skip to the next one, which is, what are 3 books you'll always recommend?
Oh gosh. That's hard. Is that hard? I don't know. Okay. I really love See a Ruin by Pam Godwin. I don't know if it's a standalone. It's a historical romance, but it's written so beautifully it actually feels like a fantasy. I know that kind of doesn't make sense, but it does. It just has that feeling to it for some reason. It's very dark, but I love that book. I always recommend that one. I also last year I read Amid Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields, and that's a standalone, and I love that one. She writes the best asshole MMCs, and then I love her books, and I made her be my friend after that. I like messaged her, and I was like, oh my god, I love this book so much. And yeah, she's lovely, and so I always recommend that one, especially because it's hard to find like standalone dark fantasy romance. And I know I'm part of the problem because I wrote 6 books, but Ella does that, and so I love that. And of course, my super best friend Sarah Parker, like When the Moon Hatched, and her Bloom series, like she's a beautiful, beautiful writer, super lyrical, and so yeah, I probably those 3.
They're all
Love
excellent
that. Yeah.
choices.
You're not the first author to be on this podcast and say Ella Fields Amid Clouds
Oh,
of Bones.
good. I
Mm.
love her. I feel like she doesn't get enough hype. Like, I mean, she gets hype, but like, I want to see her being praised all over because she's a very good writer.
Yeah, totally agree. This is our final question for you. It makes me so sad. Are you reading anything right now? And if yes, what?
So I'm always reading. I read every night. I was just looking at my Kindle, what is it called? Your Kindle Insights, where it tells you how many days, and it's like out of control. I think it's been like 5 years straight since I haven't missed a day. Maybe
Whoa.
longer. I don't know. But right now, I've been into reading like historical romances again. Those were the first romances I read like as a teenager, and then
Mhm.
would drift into like YA and fantasy YA, and then adult fantasy. And then I've kind of shifted back. Just when I'm writing fantasy, I don't like to read fantasy because um I just like to keep my own world separated and try to make it, unique without picking up these other things that I could be influenced by. So since I've been writing Piper for the past year, I haven't been reading a lot of fantasy. I do it in like, bouts when I'm in the mood. But yeah, lately it's just been historical romance. I just love it. My favorite one is really old, but I love it. It's called The Kingdom of Dreams by Judith McNaught. And that she was like she's like OG. It's
Okay.
it's it's super old, but it's so good. And so I reread that one, and then I kind of just been picking up like new ones. And it's a good, because fantasy kind of has that historical aspect to it where they
Mhm.
wear like the pretty gowns and their swords, and it's not like a modern setting. So I feel like it still scratches that part in my brain where I'm living in the fantasy world as I'm writing my own stories, but it's separate enough that it doesn't get convoluted in my head with my own world building and characters.
Mhm. I love it. We get loads of fantasy, like I'm sorry, loads of historical romance recommendations, like and I always think like maybe we need to start. Like I think we need to get into
You
it.
should.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's a good, easy crossover because
Hmm.
I don't necessarily like to go from fantasy to paranormal, even though that seems like a very easy crossover. I actually prefer to just go backwards and go into historical and fantasy and kind of switch it up. But I am a mood reader. Like I read every genre. Like sometimes I'm into like dark mafia stuff or sports romance or rom-coms or like,
Hmm.
um but mostly it's been historical romance for like the past year.
So that was our interview with the one and only Raven Kennedy, author of the Plated Prisoner series. When I say that we were starstruck, we were starstruck. If you're watching the video of this, how stunning is her office? How,
Oh,
like,
oh, she's goals. Like I want to be Raven Kennedy.
when I grow up, I want to be Raven Kennedy.
Literally, she's
Literally.
the nicest person ever. She's so intelligent. She's so perfect. She's so pretty. She writes fucking kick-ass books. Uh, what what more do
Chef's
you need to
fucking
say?
kiss. She wrote
Yeah.
Slade, like she wrote King Rock. Like, what more do you need?
We spoke about this, and I cannot remember if we spoke about it on an episode, if it was a live, like I don't remember. What I love about Raven is like, and she says this as well, like she's quite a shy person, like normally, and like she is quite. I don't feel like she comes off shy, but like you do definitely get like she's not a big like shouting loud yapper like we are.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I love that she wrote like a character like Slade, who is so like hot and dangerous and morally grey and
Mm,
like, and I love that she writes these like fucking like knock you out of the water characters. Oh, I just love it.
yeah, absolutely. Snaps for Raven.
Snaps. So what is next week?
You were putting me on the spot, girl. Sorry. Next week on the 5th of November will be our interview with cosplayer Stephen Walker.
I love doing episodes like this where it's like still in the bookish world. We're a little bit of a mix up. He's so cool, so funny, and we're so excited to sit down with him.
And he goes to fancy balls. Like, that's our dream, to go to a fancy ball. So, like, I'm gonna grill him. Like, what's it like? What are people like? What do people wear? What do you do? Talk me through it. Give me a timeline. He's gonna be
All of
like,
it.
whoa,
Yeah.
take a breath.
Yes. Yeah. And so we've got an exciting few months coming up, guys. It's a big month. But don't forget, in 3 days, Daughter Stone comes out. My final plug.
2 days.
2 days, sorry, 2 days.
And 3 days is my birthday.
So wish Sam a happy birthday, everyone.
please.
Is that it?
I think so.